A journey through the majestic Alps, from Switzerland to France. A voyage of discovery from the Bernese Oberland to the Maritime Alps. In Haute-Savoie, unusual guest rooms have been prepared up on high. Near Lake Geneva, a cross-country champion takes the tarmac roads. On the slopes of Mont Blanc, a team of carpenters complete an unconventional construction at an altitude of 4,000 meters. Today, our trip around the Alps takes us to Haute-Savoie. First to Chablais, then across the Vallée de l'Arve at Annecy to Lake Geneva and Léger, and on to the Mont Blanc massif and Saint-Gervais. Our first stop is Chablais, on the border between France and Switzerland. This region stretches along the banks of Lake Geneva. Farms are dotted around the landscape, and economic activity is centered around its historical capital, Thonon-les-Bains. Bordering the domains of Morzine and Avoriaz is Châtel, a family-friendly summer and winter sports resort that has sprung up just below the alpine pastures at an altitude of 1,200 meters. The Fantasticable zip-wire attraction is run by Jean-Louis Toyant, slope manager at Châtel. Held securely by his safety harness, Jean-Louis checks the structure before closing for winter, flying over the hamlet of Plaine-Drance.
Fantasticable is a huge zip wire that hurls people at 100 kilometers an hour over a distance of 1,500 meters. The flight lasts almost a minute, traveling 200 meters above the ground. The Fantasticable is a summer activity, and it can be a little hairy, but it's a thrilling ride.
In Châtel, Jean-Louis is in charge of a team of over 30 first aid workers. Their presence is vital in summer as well as winter. During the summer months, members of the team carry out maintenance and development work on the slopes.
From the end of the summer, once activities have ceased, preparations are made for winter. That's to say, anything to do with artificial snow coverage, maintenance of snow-generating machines, installation of pumps, etc. Once the tracked maintenance vehicles have been serviced and work grassing the slopes has been carried out, then we wait for the snow and even try to hurry it along a little.
On the slopes of Chablais, artificial snow coverage systems are a matter of survival. Making snow is easy once you have the main ingredient: water.
We try to stockpile as much water as we can, while we can, on the mountain, in other words in spring, when the snow melts into high-altitude lakes, either enhanced natural lakes or artificial lakes created from scratch. Then we send a mixture of water and air through what are known as snow cannons, or snow guns. And the water forms micro droplets in the cold air, which turn into snow crystals. We try to make the snow of the best possible quality so that people don't think it's ice.
Climate change means that winters without snow are becoming ever more frequent. Many alpine ski resorts are now equipped with automated snow factories. In Châtel, the equipment is checked by Jean-Louis' team.
Many ski resorts would have had a disastrous winter last year without artificial snow. In Abondance Valley alone, 3,000 people would have been out of a job had the season not been rescued by artificial snow coverage.
In the ski resorts of Savoie, Jean-Louis is now passing on his invaluable experience to a new generation of ski patrol workers.
As a profession, ski patrol is both completely modern and a little traditional. As I always say, I'm a shepherd of skiers. I make sure everyone is back in the fold by the evening in the best possible conditions. People who go out on the slope need to enjoy it and have to want to come back and not come to any harm. The service cannot die out because it makes the product that people come for. They don't come to go back up, they come to go down.
We leave the grasslands of Abondance Valley and move on to Chablais, with its broad sweeping pastures for livestock, located a few kilometers from Lake Geneva. Isaline and André Charmeau are among the few horse breeders who have elected to set up in Haute-Savoie. André was born and bred in the area, while Isaline is Swiss. Their riding school not far from Geneva attracts many riders.
A horse is soft to the touch, and the relationship is an emotional one. They respond to the slightest prompting from their rider, or even the person taking care of them. It's an animal that ticks all the boxes for me in terms of my feelings and emotions. It's that connection with them that captivates me the most.
For horse breeders, a connection with the animal is indispensable. It takes 2 years for Isaline and André to prepare a horse for their speciality, Western riding.
A large part of our operation is rearing an American breed, the quarter horse. We chose it because we practice Western riding and cutting, which is our favorite, our flagship discipline. This involves rounding up cattle. That connection was reinforced when I saw cowboys working in the United States. I thought it was so fantastic, being able to work with a horse all day long. When I first tried cutting, the sensations were really incredible. My horse took the initiative in everything I wanted it to do. The purpose of the exercise is to separate a head of cattle from the herd. A rider places the hand usually used for riding on the neck of the horse, and the horse starts to do its job, that is, keeping a calf isolated so it can be branded or lassoed by another horseman. The horses really enjoy this exercise. It takes a lot of work to get them to this stage, but when a horse enjoys it, the performance is spectacular. It's a dance between calf and horse.
The art of cutting requires intensive training. As promoters of practical horsemanship, Isaline and André want horses to reclaim their rightful place on the livestock farms in the valleys and mountains of Chablais.
Living among these horses is so soothing. It gives me such a fulfilling life. To have found my own little heaven on earth is just fantastic.
Crossing the peaks of Chablais, we carry on our way along the Arve Valley. Overlooking Bonneville is a large vineyard. Sparkling Savoyard wine from the vineyards of Aise, found in all the best restaurants, starts life on these slopes. Going up the other side of the valley, we enter Le Faucigny. There are some veritable paradises nestling in this region, such as the pastures of Solaizan at an altitude of 2,000 meters. The upper end of the limestone plateau gives way to the Rocher de l'Échaud. Behind this barrier of cliff faces lies a region of fertile land irrigated by the Borne mountain stream. It runs through the villages of Grand Bornand, Entremont and Petit Bornand-les-Glières. The village of Petit Bornand is home to the highest tree nursery in the Northern Alps. Here, across an area of 34 hectares, young trees and plants thrive on the riches of the alpine ecosystem. Growing trees at an altitude of between 800 and 1,000 meters isn't easy, but it's a challenge relished by Pascal Brissier and his partner Jean-Yves Perria.
We don't try to produce anything special. We handle a comparatively basic range of plants, and we cultivate them, make them grow. But we don't try to force things. Our biggest asset is our high-altitude geographical location and the fact that we don't try to speed up the growth of plants. That's what gives them their rusticity.
Pascal and Jean-Yves took over this specialized business, which was set up 60 years ago. Before a tree can be sold, it has to be cultivated for several years. Pascal mostly works on landscaping and construction. He is keen to convey his experience and his passion.
We plant at regular intervals between 2 and 5 meters apart. We also have a nursery for older, taller trees of maybe 5 or 7 meters. Every year we have special requirements to fulfill. From a botanical point of view, the smaller a tree is, the better its chance of being successfully replanted. But we're not daunted. We know what we're doing. Each has his own vision of things. Mine isn't necessarily shared by the guys who work with me. But if you can convey your desire to grow trees at altitude, to solve problems, because that's what's involved, then you're already on your way. The rest takes care of itself. You're there to give guidance, not to keep secrets. You pass on your experience.
Arolia pines, larch and broad-leaved trees growing in the nursery resist the harsh alpine environment, cold, wind, frost and infertile soil. Once they've reached the right size, some of these trees can be sold and replanted in the grounds of chalets at an altitude of 2,000 meters.
I learnt about conifers, firs, and the one I have great admiration for now is the Swiss pine. It's kind of our mascot. It's a species that grows very slowly, one that can be taken to the highest altitudes. And as far as I'm aware, nobody else produces them in the sizes we offer. If there's one conifer I admire, it's definitely the Swiss pine.
Sont venus les écorcer.
I'm more in contact with people now, more often shut away in my office or my car between meetings. A walk around the nursery or through the forest is a way for me to relax. I start to suffer if I can't see the trees or smell them.
Leaving behind us the plantations in the Petit Bornand Valley, we move on to the Glières Plateau. Located at an altitude of 1,500 meters, the site was at the center of a battle during the Second World War and remains a commemorative symbol for France. In 1973, a national monument to the resistance was erected, paying homage to the victims. The sculpture depicts the sun held in a hand. We now cross the pastures and limestone summits of the Borne Mountains. Parmelan, La Dent du Cruet, and La Tournette at 2,300 meters. Down below is Annecy Lake. On the skyline, the mountains of Semnoz and the massif of Bauges. Weather permitting, paragliders love to hurl themselves off the edge of one of the best-known sites for free flight, the Col de la Forclaz. On the banks of the lake stands the 200-meter-high Château de Menton-Saint-Bernard, dominating the landscape. Annecy, often nicknamed Little Venice, is the capital of Haute-Savoie. While preserving its medieval heritage, this city manages to be a bastion of innovation. A variety of high-tech firms manufacturing sports equipment and textiles have set up in Annecy. Claire Alverne is a designer. She works for a research consultancy creating specialized clothing. Claire helps design collections for the leading manufacturers of ski and mountain wear.
I feel absolutely free. As long as the job is done properly, you're free to make suggestions. There's a real human side to it.
Designers are constantly on the lookout for technological innovations that can be incorporated into their equipment. The man who founded the firm encourages team spirit, both with and among his staff.
I've been working with Georges Pissé for 2 years now, and I still find him hard to figure out. In fact, he makes connections between people, between things, and between ideas. He likes to combine together everything he sees. The hard part is structuring it to produce something workable.
Every stage in the development of ski wear is carried out here in the workshop, from the initial sketch right up to a prototype model.
I find it absolutely magical to start with nothing and end up with a finished product. What I really like is understanding the customer's expectations and then exceeding them.
Claire has found fulfillment in a company that values youth, which for its boss is synonymous with success and creativity.
The clothes we design allow people to do things that would otherwise be impossible or very, very difficult. I'm thinking of expeditions, records, achievements, particularly in terms of freedom of movement and experience.
We now leave Annecy behind and move on to the high mountain pastures and limestone reliefs of the Massif des Aravis. Farming is a way of life in most of the local villages. The region's other big treasure is its forest. Harvesting timber at altitude demands heavy equipment, especially for the transport of felled trees. These recently cut trunks will be stockpiled for several months in the valley before being sawn up to supply the timber industry around the town of Thônes. Timber is one of the most dynamic areas of activity in the Aravis. In the forests on the hills around Les Villards-sur-Thônes stand some very strange-looking houses. These are the guest lodges belonging to Hugo and Patrice Genot. Throughout spring and summer, Hugo works hard on every detail to ensure that his guests enjoy their stay to the maximum.
For my father and me, it's a childhood dream come true. One tends to think that cabins are very hard to build. But the pair of us got down to it. We had ideas. It's a system of adventure parks, and it's all linked by carpentry. Since the pair of us had ideas about woodwork, it wasn't exactly difficult. You have to choose the right trees for solidity and safety. After that, the cabins themselves are timber-framed with a traditional chalet construction. Above all, it was a real joy to build them. Building a cabin is pretty much a full-time job for 3 or 4 months. From start to finish, it's 4 months' work. After that, there's a little maintenance work every spring and autumn. Worn boards need to be changed, cables need to be tightened, mountains need to be loosened to allow growth without any damage to the trees. The idea is to keep the cabins up off the ground for as long as possible. Our cabins stick to local architecture. They are made from old wood, which is worked and brushed, and roofs are made from the local traditional wooden tiles. The style of the region is adhered to.
As a former top-flight sportsman, now a ski instructor in winter, Hugo has landed himself a job for the summer months. He enjoyed instant success with his holiday lets and cabins, which he calls éco-tagne. The unusual accommodation Hugo offers stands 9 meters off the ground, right in the middle of the forest.
People come for the cabins, as well as for the friendly welcome and food, and the unusual setting, so close to nature. We are about 4 kilometers away from any other houses, out in the wild, in total silence. Plus, it's ecological. The food is local cuisine, made from local produce. The overall effect creates a special ambiance and energy. We try to keep it all very intimate.
From Villars-sur-Saône, we continue our journey through the massif des Aravis. This region, with its mountain passes, plateaus, and water-hewn gorges, is still mostly farmland. The development of winter sports resorts has certainly boosted the local economy, but it hasn't impacted too much on the landscape. By sticking with local architectural traditions, La Clusaz has preserved the look of a mountain village. A silver medalist in the downhill rollerblading World Championships, Émilie Sadou trains along the Col des Aravis road, searching for the perfect curve.
Rollerblading was a natural thing for me. It was my way of getting around, going to school, getting up the Col des Aravis. It was my sport, my daily training. Then I was lucky enough to be recruited into a team where I could skate at a higher level, and I really got into it. I'm kind of fearless, and it led me to racing in World Cups at the very highest level. It's a feeling of freedom, not unlike downhill skiing. It provides the same sensation of freedom flying downhill. Of course, all the risks are calculated. Nothing I left to chance. You control your speed, pay attention to others, pay attention to yourself. It's not just about performance.
Former cross-country skiing champion Émilie excels in a wide range of sports. She gives 100% to anything she takes part in.
À La
People in La Clusaz do a lot of sport. It's a matter of choice. I began with top-level cross-country skiing. Then I tried other sports. I missed team sports, so I signed up for ice hockey in La Clusaz to get some experience of team spirit and a team sport.
Set up in 1940 in Chamonix, female ice hockey promotes understanding and friendliness and is a world away from the violent image often attached to the sport. Female ice hockey has been an Olympic event since 1998.
From the outside, ice hockey might seem a little violent, but played between girls, it's really nice. The game has different phases, and it's pretty tactical, so it's very enjoyable for women because you're well protected. You can't get hurt. It's a real thrill, gliding around, playing the game, tearing along, charging in, dribbling around opponents. Then, when you score, it feels great. You celebrate with the whole team, and that's really nice. Every morning, I get up and admire the mountains all around. Then there's Lake Annecy nearby, and the city too. So it's not as if we're in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty civilized. Most of all, though, I like being in the mountains.
We leave La Clusaz and press on, across the Arve Valley to the ski resort of Léger. Above the town of Cluses, at an altitude of 1,000 meters, lies the village of Mont Blanc, clinging to the foothills of the Bargy range. The Belvedere du Faucigny, the church dedicated to Our Lady of the Assumption, offers a spectacular view across the whole region. Across the Arve Valley, the relief of the mountain was well suited to the opening of new ski runs. Previously, the main activity around the village of Léger, located in the lower mountains, was timber. The resort now specializes in skiing in winter and mountain biking in summer, with dedicated circuits, descent tracks, cross-country, and a bike park. It's a vast and multifaceted playground that attracts a wide range of devotees of the sport. Christophe Rossin, president of the Léger Mountain Biking Club, initiates enthusiasts and trains future competitors.
Mountain biking is a passion, a way of life even. Because in summer, we live for mountain biking. It's a form of escape and the source of enormous pleasure.
Bikes designed for riding in the mountains first appeared in the mid-1970s in the United States. Modern mountain bikes are fitted with broad, knobby tires and reinforced frames, as well as front and often rear suspension. After several years of competition, Christophe now devotes himself to the youngsters in his club.
Badly executed, the sport can engender risks and cause traumatic injuries on impact because you're falling on hard ground, not snow. But if you're well trained, there's no obvious risk. Of course, when you push it too hard, the potential risk increases. Okay, let's carry on with our training. We'll have a session on the green track around the little bends. So the first rule is to remember to keep your inside pedal up and your outside pedal down to optimize grip. We'll give it a whirl and see how we get on at the bottom. We now have around 50 child members, so we hold training sessions throughout the season. Then we have competition sessions for those who want to get up to that level and give more of their time and passion. We supervise them, schedule races, take care of their enrollment with the association, and coach them for events.
World Championships, French Championships, opening weekend, the resort has become the go-to place for mountain bike enthusiasts.
If you really want to improve, you think carefully about what you're doing and study the terrain beforehand. Then later, when you're riding, you're always on your guard, reacting to what's going on. Anyone who cycles for fun can ride, say, a green track without needing a great deal of technique. Beyond that, if you want to go faster and tackle more difficult terrain, you need basic technique to enjoy it and to stay on the bike. Bike maintenance is like anything else. You ride it hard, you have to clean it, grease it, tighten the bolts. It's an expensive piece of equipment, so it's always better if you look after it. When you're done, you check your bike and give it the once-over for the following day to avoid any unforeseen breakdowns.
We are now in the Gifre Valley, a river whose source is at the foot of Mont Blanc. The valley is closed in by the natural amphitheater of Fer-à-Cheval, forming a semicircle of limestone slopes several kilometers long. Rock faces from 500 to 700 meters high make up what's known as the land of waterfalls, including the Rouget, nicknamed the Queen of the Alps. This rocky amphitheater, hewn by glaciers, bears more recent traces of fluvial erosion. It is crowned by summits of almost 3,000 meters in altitude, such as the peaks of Tenneverge and Cheval Blanc, or White Horse. Starting in June, waters spring from these cliffs, and around 30 impressive-looking waterfalls come tumbling down the dizzyingly high rock faces. Classified as a national park, the largest mountainous amphitheater in the Alps is part of the Sixte Fer-à-Cheval Nature Reserve. Higher up, we find the Désert de Platée, a limestone plateau formed by glaciers and sculpted by meltwater. It's the only site of its kind in Europe. Crossing the pointed summits of the Aiguille Rouge Reserve and Mont Blanc, we descend the Bérard Valley to the village of Vallorcine, away from the bustle of the Chamonix Valley. Damaged several times by falling snow since the 18th century, the church of Vallorcine is protected by a stony trunk that acts as an avalanche barrier. Our next port of call is on the fringes of the Mont Blanc massif at an altitude of 2,000 meters in the little valley of Tré-les-Eaux. A native to Vallorcine, mountain guide Frédéric Ancey is also a crystal gatherer. He scours the mountain in search of natural rock crystals.
I was always told that if I didn't work at school, I'd be a mountain guide or ski instructor. So here I am. It's an inherent part of you. It isn't a career. You don't do it to earn money. I love it, the freedom of being here and showing people these wonderful places. Being a guide is a luxury now. Life is so expensive, and there aren't many real guides left. You can't afford to waste a day waiting for fine weather to scale the Dru or the Grand Joras. Nowadays, guides go in for canyoning, biking, canopy tours. You have to make ends meet. I regard myself as a guide come crystal gatherer. I don't make a living from crystals. From time to time I sell some, but I do it mostly for their beauty. When they were constructing the Émousson Dam, they dug galleries everywhere to recover glacier water from the valleys. That's when a huge deposit of crystals was discovered, right under here. I always came here with my father and my brother, so it's been 40 years this year. We call it picking crystals, as with mushrooms. You scour the area, focusing on certain zones. I often leave certain spots for 2 years. You try to hide them, but sometimes you can't find them again. The mountain changes so much. Or the place might just disappear altogether.
The practice of crystal gathering is a tradition linked to the cultural heritage of the Alps. It is one of the mysterious charms of life in the mountains.
You find gems in places like this. From these heaps of rubble, pebbles and earth, nature's jewels can be extracted with a chisel. It's jewelry for stonemasons.
For Frédéric, the melting glaciers are both a blessing and a curse. It threatens his job as a guide, but clears whole sections of mountain where he can find new crystals.
It's always hard to leave anything there, but once your bag is full, you stop digging. 35 kilos is the maximum. It often takes longer to get down than it did to get up. It isn't easy. Until they're up on the shelf, all finished, you have to be patient. Even washed in water, a piece looks nice. But once you put them in acids, they start to look like real jewels. It's so rich around here, you can find anything, even gold. I've been looking for it for quite a while. I'd like to exhibit them one day and have a place to display the beautiful pieces a lot of my crystal gathering friends have collected.
Our voyage continues through the heart of the Mont Blanc massif to the Dolent, at the bottom of the Argentière glacier on the border between Switzerland, France and Italy. Higher up is the Aiguille Verte at an altitude of over 4,000 meters. The Courte, the Droite, the Dru, legendary summits that fire the imaginations of mountaineers. Further along is the prestigious north face of Grand Joras. In 1935, a German expedition scaled it for the first time. Lower down at the edge of the Talefre glacier is the Couvercle hut at an altitude of 2,700 meters. This old building remains open in winter for the keenest mountaineers. Now we cross the Géant Glacier over the Vallée Blanche, or White Valley. In winter, it's one of the most beautiful ski descents in all the Alps, but it is also off-piste, unmarked and unsupervised, traversing heavily crevassed glaciers. Atop the 3,842-meter-high Aiguille du Midi, or Needle of the South, is a tower equipped with telecommunications antennae. The cable car carries thousands of visitors up into the mountains. The Aiguille du Midi is also the starting point of the Vallée Blanche. The toughest way down, known as the Descente de l'Arête, is undertaken on foot with ropes and crampons. Around 20 kilometers long, this run is taken every year by skiers from all over the world, often accompanied by a guide. Surveying a unique 360-degree panorama is doctor and mountaineer Christine Janin. She has climbed Everest and was the first woman to reach the North Pole on skis. Far from the traditional runs, Christine enjoys the exertions of cross-country skiing. In summer, the Vallée Blanche changes appearance completely, becoming a veritable sea of ice. In this mineral kingdom, the warmer months are for mountaineering and hiking. The wide variety of activities on offer in the Chamonix Valley persuaded Christine to make it the base for her charity À chacun son Everest, meaning we each have our own personal Everest to climb.
The aim of À chacun son Everest is to help children with cancer and leukemia, using the symbolism of Everest to overcome the disease. You start at base camp, and you need to reach the summit. The idea is to take them towards their Everest. After my first session, a child wrote to me to say how I'd set him on the road to recovery. He said he'd believed that nothing could be done for sick children, but I'd proved the opposite. And for 15 years, I've been getting the same messages. They don't come to spend time in the mountains. They use the mountain as a therapeutic tool. It's like an expedition. They arrive at base camp, then they gradually learn to walk and learn to climb. There's the adventure park and canopy tour, where children overcome their fears by joining in. The last day is the day of the summit, with all the associated symbolism. I'm proud I did it. Some stick the flag in and say, I'm better now.
J'ai vaincu. Et il y en a qui, en mettant le fanion, me disent maintenant je suis guérie.
What makes the job interesting is the ones who are afraid, because overcoming fear, in terms of what's inside you, in terms of self-confidence, can be a great release.
As a doctor, Christine has already guided more than 3,000 children towards their summit. She regards illness as a challenge, an Everest to be scaled. In her center, learning how to climb allows children to confront their problems and overcome their apprehension.
It's often the first time that these children have ever done any climbing. So a climbing room is much safer, much more playful, and it gives the children more confidence, because it's easier to climb on a wall than it is outside. Rocks are a much more complicated introduction.
On descend, tu fais des petits sauts. Tu tends bien les jambes, regarde. Et on peut faire des petits sauts.
They realize it's the home of champions because Everest is mentioned, à chacun son Everest, and a place for them to prove things to themselves, a place with a history, right opposite Mont Blanc, which is magical. Everyone has heard of it, so that enhances their status too. All the tourists come to see Mont Blanc, and here they are. It shows them that illness can bring positive things. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of energy. My passion for the mountains never dims, and my Prozac is skiing, the mountains, the Vallée Blanche, but in a simple way. As soon as I'm up here, I feel good. Being here makes me feel complete. It nourishes me, and it's what I need.
All through the 20th century, the building of alpine huts has allowed mountaineers to venture into the Mont Blanc massif. Manned in summer and sometimes spring, they're the starting point for many ascents and glacial tourism. The Grand Capucin stands 400 meters above the glacier. For generations, this granite obelisk has attracted the very best rock climbers. The mountains were long considered to be the abode of the gods. Hence, the guides of Chamonix erected statues of the Virgin Mary on two of the massif's iconic peaks. Symbolizing spiritual ascension and purification through exercise, the statues at Le Grépon have watched over the valley since 1927. The Mont Blanc Massif, the highest mountain range in Europe, attracts hundreds of mountaineers every year. The summit can be reached via routes of varying difficulty. In order to limit the numbers visiting the site, a new building is being constructed at the Goûter Hut, an obligatory stopover point during the ascent. At an altitude of around 4,000 meters, the construction of one of the highest climbing huts of France, here in the village of Saint-Gervais, was a huge challenge, both architecturally and technologically. Bruno Carte is a carpenter, and he's part of the adventure.
I bid for the job out of passion, because rebuilding the Goûter Hut is a symbolic act for me. One day, my children and grandchildren will be able to say, yes, my father or my grandfather helped build that.
The team doesn't return to the valley to sleep during the short summer campaign, resting instead in the old shelter before returning to the construction site every morning.
Ouais, ça chauffe.
Being part of the construction of this building means a great deal to me. And it isn't just any old building. It's ovoid and structurally very complex. I had to be part of it. It's a fine project, and I had to be there, out of passion. The framework is made in workshops down below, using computer plans. Everything is cut in the workshop, transported to Saint-Gervais, then brought up by helicopter. The weather conditions have to be right. No wind, no mist, no snow. And then we can get on with the assembly. Timber constructions are the future, especially here, where weight is very important. Wood is perfect for building at altitude using helicopters. With such a large tonnage of materials to be taken up and helicopter expenses so high. The shape is beautiful. Viewed from the valley, I think this will be much prettier than the old hut.
Bruno Carte purrs with pleasure as his work takes shape. Thanks to the hard work of a wide range of craftsmen, the building of the new hut will have taken only 2 years.
Lots of people will come to see it, and they won't come just for Mont Blanc. So of course that means visitors, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But that's Mont Blanc, and it's never going to change. Mont Blanc needs to remain pure and natural, and should be respected as much as possible.
All the way from Le Faucigny, our journey ends atop Mont Blanc along the Voie Royale, the highest point of the Alps, at an altitude of 4,810 meters.